And it's that sort of content that builds that trust. If you just come right out and you're just a real estate agent and no one could attach who you are or why you're doing what you're doing, that content is meaningless.
Welcome back to The Walkthrough, where we walk you through this week's trending topics in real estate. I am your co-host and moderator, Danny Deals, and today I have brought with me the big guns to provide you with the most entertaining and educational, value-packed episode to date. As always, please make sure to jam that like button as many times as you can. Please just jam it, hit one. Joining me as always, the guy behind the guy, El Contiendo Dios, which is a loosely translated to the content god in English, Mr. Eric Simon, aka the Broke Agent. Eric, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Dan. The sun is out for the first time in Los Angeles since November, and it makes me such a happier person because it's been cloudy. Literally for the last 5 months, I have zero color in my face. I can't wait. After this episode is done, I'm going to sit out by my pool, catch some rays, and then I'm going to start to feel a little bit better about myself. So I'm doing great.
Well, you look great too. And also joining us, returning guest, arguably the most touted, requested guest in history, not a big deal, from the DMV, crushing life, crushing real estate, Miss Lindsay Joe. Lindsay Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you for all the articles, blogs, everything that you're doing. Also back by popular demand, who runs the world? Girls. All the way from Fort Lickerdale, I believe, Miss Sold by Lindsay Breuhan. Lindsay, how you doing? By the way, you just did the Stanley Cup triathlon that not many people can do. You went from Vegas to Fort Lickerdale and now back home. You got to be in one right now. How you feeling?
I feel great, honestly. I feel awesome. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back. I'd be crawled up in a ball for a week if I did that triathlon.
Today I was in a ball. I'm back. I'm out of the ball today. I'm back.
Okay. All right. Good. Today we're talking how to build a brand identity to gain loyal, lifelong clients. Marketing updates of the week. We always have those. What kind of sports or hobbies or extracurricular activities do you do to meet new clients? How to cut back on expenses and much, much more. But if you're watching this, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. We appreciate everybody who tunes in each and every single week very much. All right, let's get into it. Topic number 1, how to attract leads that convert to loyal clients, the personal brand advantage, written by the woman herself, Miss Lindsay Joe and BAM staff. The link will be in the show notes. Put that on. Unveiling your brand DNA. Finding your brand DNA, Lindsay writes, is a crucial step in the personal branding journey. But how exactly can you accomplish that? It begins by finding your uniqueness and exploiting it in the service of others. And how can you discover that uniqueness? Lindsay, I'm going to let you take this and run with it. But my main points that I took from here were a few, and then I'll let you steer the ship here. But serving the person that you once were, from powerless to resilience, grasping your identity, crafting signature stories, leveraging resilient lessons, and empowering others and building trust. Your brand story. Why is it so good to have a story about your brand, and how do you do that as an agent?
Yeah. So I think it's super important to find your own brand DNA. For me, that is authenticity and vulnerability. I've been super open about my struggles throughout my real estate kind of journey. 2020 and 2021 were great years for me. 2022, I set a really big goal and I missed that goal by one transaction. And it kind of sent me into a little bit of a spiral. I was really struggling. And I looked around at all of my real estate friends and all I saw were people who were winning, another just listed post, another just sold post. And so I didn't really know who to go to reach out to for help. And so I write in that article that I think we're most powerfully positioned to serve the person that we once were. And so I have a very big heart to serve the agents who are struggling. I need to be that agent and that person that I needed in 2022. And that's why I'm so open on social about, my struggles. That's my brand DNA. And so I think it's super important that agents figure out what that is for them. And then you can build some content around that. And I think also, like, if we look at the commercials that we see on TV, right? Like, even if we're watching a commercial about extra gum, right? It's rarely actually about the gum. It's about the story that connects us to that product that makes us want to purchase that gum. And so I think that as agents, we need to kind of use that strategy and create content around that using our brand DNA.
Absolutely. Lindsay, Breuhan, your brand story, how are you promoting that? How can agents promote that more to the public or to the consumers?
I think that like when you're actually going through the struggle, you're not really promoting it. It's like who you used to be, like you said, and then developing along the way and talking about who you used to be. So I always put like, I'm very selective about the pinned post on my profile. So the top 3 posts on my page are going to tell everything that you need to know about my brand. It's going to talk about my strategies for like buyers and sellers. It's going to also talk about like how I got to where I'm at. And I think it's really important to have brand development as well, because I started out with this like come up story, right? Like it was single mom living at my mom's house, sharing a room with my sister and my baby. It was kind of like a come up, but it has since developed into just realness and rawness and transparency. And like Lindsay said about the struggles that you're going through. And it's been amazing. It's just sharing things. Like I just share everything. I share like what I'm going through because I know that there's other people that are following that are maybe not able to talk about it yet, but can like, can resonate with it. So I think it's just important to, like she said, be open and honest about what you're going through, what you've been through, and the things that you're experiencing.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And Eric, to your point that you're about to get to, we were on the phone earlier and you mentioned Gary Vee and you mentioned how everybody kind of knows your brand story and how you got started. How do you use that to leverage, to people from the media side of things?
Yeah, I think the best like business gurus and entrepreneurs and brands that you follow, just like Lindsay said, have built an enormous amount of trust because you know exactly where they came from. Gary Vee, everybody that like follows him kind of understands his story. He's from Belarus. He grew up like trading baseball cards and like selling popsicle sticks to like 2-year-olds and just making, and every entrepreneurial
coffee truck.
Yeah, exactly. Just selling lemonade at, a 200% markup, like a genius. And then he worked in his dad's liquor store, and then he started VaynerMedia. Like everyone understands that and like understands where his content's coming from because it's from that grind work ethic standpoint. And I love what the other Lindsay said, not Lindsay Joe, about how having that in your pinned post or having a great place to access it on your Instagram profile to let people know, have it on your Instagram highlights or something is a great place to host that brand story. And what I did to get mine out at the beginning was just go on every podcast I could possibly go on and tell people like the broke agent came from a place similar to Lindsay Joe of struggling. Like I sucked at real estate. I was not selling houses. I hated cold calling. I hated door knocking. Like these were all the inner anxieties that everybody else was feeling. And that content did resonate with people. And it's that sort of content that builds that trust. If you just come right out and you're just a real estate agent and no one could attach who you are or why you're doing what you're doing, that content is meaningless, right? Like, Dan, you do a great job at this. Like people understand your story, like Long Island, people know you're an Islanders fan. Like they really get a feel for your brand and like where you came from because you like exude who that person is. So yeah.
And it's important too, to all of your guys' points, to also be authentic to that brand and like to your story. And Lindsay, I love what you said too about just like showing the rawness and the realness behind everything. My story is kind of also constantly evolving. And I think one thing that agents or people struggle with, right? So I'm going to use somebody on my team for an example, right? She is a former Marine or military. I'm so sorry that I'm getting that wrong. All I know is she was of service. She works now at the VA, so the Veterans Hospital, and she like is afraid to put that story out there, right? She doesn't want to say that she was, in the military or the Marines. And I'm like Lindsay, I'm like, Jen, that is such an amazing, powerful story. Like people need to know that. I have another agent on my team. His name is Javon. He works a day job, 9 to 5, right? He's like, I don't even want to say where he works, whatever. And then instead of him going home, because he knows he has his kids and he has his wife, he will pull over on the side of the road on the LIE, which is our highway, and he'll make cold calls for 3 hours before he goes home, because he knows if he gets home, he's not making those calls. He's got his kids, his dogs. He got like 4 listings that way. Tell that story, right? Like, people will start rooting for you, and they will believe in every piece of content, everything that you do. They will be behind you in every way. But I think that as agents, or really just anybody, sometimes it's hard to share that story, share those struggles, like admit, like my story is that I was an absolute degenerate in the restaurant business. I hated what I was doing. My potential wasn't there. I was drinking way too much. And that's kind of what led me to get into real estate. But like, to open up and tell that story, it's not easy right from the very beginning. And
to continue telling that story also, like Lindsay Joe does a great job on the BAM article. She's always telling her story. So you know exactly where Lindsay came from, and you keep building that trust, because it's not just the pinned post is great and the Instagram highlights is great. So people who are just returned to your profile get an idea of who you are, but to keep hammering and having people remember who you are, like do an Instagram reel or a TikTok every now and then, say, hey, for just following me, here's where I came from, here's why I do it, and here's what I could do for you, basically.
And make sure, like, that story, like if you're going to go and speak, because we know people that do this all the time, make sure it's the same story, right? Like when people say, like, is every conference, they'll say, oh, how'd you get into real estate? Like, I don't really share that story. I wish I had a better one where I was like, oh, someone came up to me one day and smacked me over the head with a 4-iron. And I'm like, oh, I should get into real estate. I don't really have like a story that way to how I got into it.
It looks like you got smacked over the head with a 4-iron.
It always does. My face is always just
you got the bruise right there.
I did get in the face of the golf ball. But my point is, you hear people that it comes off very inauthentic when it's like, oh, I walked past a sign one day and I saw it and I put it on my back and I walked 10,000 miles. But then they speak at another conference and then they're like, yeah, you know what? I played hockey with somebody and, and then I got into real estate. So stay true to that story. Like, stay true to yourself. We all agree on that.
And to your point, Dan, with the people on your team, like, you're so right that they absolutely need to share the story. And from an outsider's perspective, like, you should be blasting that to the world, but they might not be in the position where they're feeling confident enough to be like, that's the old me. This is the new me. So I think it also comes with like success and a couple sales under their belt and they're feeling like really good about it. And then they can start talking about it. And a part of the brand thing that's important for me too, that I just want to touch on as well, is that like, I'm very personable, I'm very goofy, I'm very funny. Like, I think we all have the same sort of style on Instagram and what we portray to the marketplace, but also we have that same professionalism about us. And my clients know that. Like, when I get to a listing appointment, I'm going to start off by being goofy and funny and personable and like try and, make a connection where I can. But when it comes to business, my tone changes. Like when I start talking pricing and I start talking strategy, there's an actual shift in the room. And I think that's an important part of the brand, that if you're going to be crazy and silly and goofy online, to also have that professional side about you, that they know when you leave that their business is taken care of.
Sorry, speaking of raw and real, I just got a message on my iMac here. I thought that it was muted and I just got word that an appraisal came in $40,000 less. So that is, that's great to hear. But to everybody's point, and I guess to summarize, if you don't share the story, right, nobody's going to know. I have a buddy that broke like 58 bones. The kid's basically paralyzed. Shout out to Kenny Hirsch with Compass. And he, like, I tell him all the time, you could literally like write a book on this. Somebody like, you could write a book. This kid's selling 400 houses a year. He's paralyzed, like genuinely paralyzed. That is an incredible story. I wake up with a knot on my forehead and I'm complaining, right? But this kid's paralyzed and he's out selling. That is an amazing story. But if you don't share it and if you don't tell people, right, nobody's going to know.
Yeah. Takes conditioning for people to understand the story. Because like you said, no one who's just visited your page or just comes across your content once really understands what's going on. So you got to keep conditioning them for that trust. Speaking of conditioning for trust, Dan, we've been building content on The Broke Agent and BAM for 9+ years. And if you want to build content like BAM and become a content factory, you got to join BAMX. Use code WALKTHROUGH right now for 10% off the annual subscription. We got courses where we teach Instagram engagement, content hacks, masterminding objections. We actually have 2 live streams a month in there. It is the #1 community in the real estate agent community. Join it right now. BAMX, there's a link in the description. It would be a foolish move not to.
It's a cup of coffee. For the best.
Cup of coffee
in real estate. Yeah, a cup of coffee. All right, on to topic number 2. Sorry, I might have just ruined this episode because now I have absolutely crippling anxiety about this short appraisal. I hope this girl's joking with me. But topic number 2, and this is maybe right up Eric and I's alley, but it will be up your alley as well. Topic number 2 is from The Real Deal. In LA, golf can be a deal maker. LA recently hosted the US Open for the first time in 75 years, but the game is anything but new for real estate. It's not difficult to draw a nexus between real estate and the game of golf. It's the best way to meet people, said Brian Bogolsky of Mafia Estates, who formerly worked as a caddy in his native Chicago. When I came to golf courses alone, I'm always matched up with 3 people that I don't know. I will have the next 4 to 5 hours getting to know them since it takes that long to play 18 holes. He said, first you're playing golf, and next thing you know, you are working with a client. In 2018, Brian traveled solo to Encino Golf Course, a fairway operated by the city of Los Angeles. Can you hear this? I'm so sorry. This is like, I can't fix it. I don't know how to get rid of this. I'm so sorry. Maybe cut this. Like, this is not even funny. This is $40,000 under. Like, this is wild. Anyway, in 2018, Brian traveled solo to Encino Golf Course, a fairway operated by the city of LA. He was matched with 3 strangers who worked in entertainment. They bonded over a carefree approach to the game and comedies such as Airplane and The Big Lebowski. A few months later, after that first meeting, they became friends, and they referred him, one of those 3 gentlemen, referred him a special request. Long story short, now I'm so distracted here. But he found a unicorn, a 2-bed, 1-bath, ranch-style home that was adjoining with a warehouse just under 4,000 square feet in the city of San Fernando. And since then, his golf friends referred more business to him. With that said, this doesn't have to just be golf, although I do believe that golf is one of the best ways to meet new people, and I happen to do this every single time, and I have a few points that I will get to. I just need to mute myself immediately. But this doesn't have to be golf. This could be paint night. This could be you going to spin class, be going to the gym. This could be going on Bumble, whatever it may be. Lindsay, Joe, what are some activities or extracurriculars maybe that you do that you meet new people?
This was a hard one for me. Originally, I was just going to say Instagram and just talk about how I always do the polls on my stories. And then whoever answers my polls, I will send them a DM. So I'm having about 100 to 150 conversations per day with different agents, which drives a lot of referrals. Since December, I've had 5 referrals. One was a $4.3 million listing appointment, which I did not get. But the point is that, Dan, are you okay? I would also say like certain things like Soul Cycle and that sort of thing we can always go to and kind of, build those relationships with those people too. But I think don't sleep on the DMs, you guys. Like the dollars are in the DMs, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. There's a million ways, right? I mean, like I said, Bumble, spin, going to the gym. It doesn't have to be golf. Like pickleball, for example, right? Pickleball is another great way. Just
put the thing
Lindsay,
on silent.
Buddy, I've been trying. Lindsay, what are some ways that you meet new people?
So I've been trying to come out of my shell instead of, when I'm out in public, like my son does tennis lessons in the morning, 8 a.m. Old Lindsay would have like sunglasses on, like hood on, like in my own zone. I'm trying to talk to the parents more and just put myself out there. Another thing that I'm doing on Friday with my lender, I'm super excited. We're going to go post up at a local coffee shop. We're each going to put $150 to the barista and say we're paying for the first $300 worth of coffees that come in. And we're also going to post up at a table. We're not going to be pushy at all. We're just going to sit there and work on our laptops, have a little bowl to collect other like small businesses, business cards. And when they say like, hey, they've purchased your coffee, we're just going to wave. And if people want to come up and say hi, they want to drop their, small business card in our bin, they can do that. If not, hey, have a great day. We're not here to be pushy. We're here to make connections. So if I can help you support your small business and you can, refer me business, great. If not, here's the free coffee.
That's a great idea. Eric, as a golfer and I mean, just a sports guy and just really a social butterfly, what are some extracurriculars that you do to meet new potential clients or just new friends? Because you have a lot of them.
not a realtor anymore, but what I did do to meet potential clients is I would go to young LA networking events, and I hated them more than anything. I thought they were a complete nightmare. Standing around with a name tag, it was mostly just other real estate agents and lenders that were at these events, and it felt like the conversation was so forced. So I think golf is actually would be the perfect route. I do like the idea of showing up solo and not, having yourself in a foursome already so that you can play with 3 people. Because on the golf course, you're there for 5 hours. You're riding in the cart with them. It's quiet. It's nature. It's pretty. The Encino course that this guy played is not pretty. It's actually the biggest pile of shit course I've ever seen in my life. And the fairways are literally made of dirt. But I've been there a couple of times. That's where I go to the range. I think golf is a great move. And then honestly, going to real estate conferences, you're not going to meet potential clients, but meeting other agents to have in your network and to get referrals from, everybody there is sharing a similar mindset. Everybody there wants to learn. Everybody there wants to party. Like those are the perfect, like vibrant atmospheres to meet other people. So I'd say real estate conferences, golf. I would push back on your pickleball. I think pickleball is a disastrous way to meet new people because it's so loud and you're actually just playing against them. So maybe at the turn, you could talk to them.
Well, so I hear what you're saying. So what we did was I thought it was a really good chance to recruit if we had a pickleball court in our office. And Genius. It turns out that it has been, because now other people from other companies are coming and we're playing pickleball outside of our office with people from other agencies. They're getting to know the owner and I, and you're playing pickleball, competitive as it is, right? We're getting a lot of people over to the company. And I'll never forget the owner of my company told me to spend more time at my country club. I'm like, buddy, what? Like, I'm not going to be selling houses if I'm spending time up there, but it could just be dinner. It's going up there and putting late night. The amount of people that I've met, the ROI that I have just from being a member of the country club. And by the way, ladies, this is not like just a men's only thing. There are, like, I just saw a mortgage lender that I work with all the time, like a 55-year-old, female. She just joined the club in a social aspect. So she's up there getting drinks, dinner all the time too. So for me, golf is like the easiest and best way. But again, there are other ways, like tennis, paint nights, people that like cigars or people that like wine. I have a buddy of mine that I won't mention his name. Eric, you know who he is. He will not spend $1 on a piece of clothing, but he just bought a Ferrari specifically to join a Ferrari only group. So he's surrounding himself now with people that have a lot of money. So there are a million different ways to meet new people, but I think it's important to do that. And my last example, maybe, and I've shared this story, is I used to sit at a bar, the nicest bar in my town, and I would order a club soda, right? So look, I had a vodka, didn't have any money to my name, and I would walk around and I would just introduce myself, and my sonar real estate ears would go off, and that's how I met a lot of people. So getting creative and finding ways to meet new people, whether they be agents or potential clients, is huge. I just happen to think golf is the best way, but that's just me.
Yeah. 5 hours on a course. Also, this article did say you get to learn a lot about your potential agent if you're golfing with them, because you could kind of see how they handle emotional situations. So I would never golf with my clients if that were the fact, because if they saw me snap hook it off the first tee and then spike a club over my neck, I don't think they would be working with me in real estate.
I've seen you break a 6-iron over your neck on your wedding day. So yeah, maybe don't bring your clients there, but
I'll keep them away. I'll meet new clients there. I do. I think it's about putting yourself in a position where you're most comfortable, like an atmosphere where you could communicate in your best. Like if Lindsay could sit at a coffee shop and meet new people, that's incredible. I wouldn't be able to do that. I certainly would not be able to go to a bar, order just a club soda, because I'd have to drink something, and then just go up to people. That sounds like so out of my league. But
when you have $0 in your bank account, you will do anything to meet anybody.
I like the DM approach from Lindsay Joe. I think that's the move. That way you don't even have to leave your apartment.
Don't have to leave.
And listen, you know what? The other thing too, sorry, Lindsay Joe, go ahead.
No, I just said I don't have to leave. I just get to sit on my phone. It's great.
There you go.
Perfect.
I convinced my owner to build a golf simulator in the back, because I said, listen, do you want to get stuck with some, boring person for 4 hours, or do you want to have a golf simulator that females can come and play, kids and family can come play? And so far that's worked as well. So let us know what you are doing to meet new people, any extracurriculars, any hobbies that you may have that are working for you. On to topic number 3. By the way, that person did just text me, and I'm sorry that we could completely maybe cut this out. I don't know, but I literally just had a panic attack, right? Appraisal 40 grand short. Okay. Well, she said appraisal came in 40 grand less. And I just said, what? She said, just kidding. It's all good. And I said, hey, I hate you. It's not even funny. Just ruin the episode. Anyway. All right. On to topic number 3. Mortgage professionals living paycheck to paycheck. Make sure to throw us a like here. Speaking of living paycheck to paycheck, this was posted by Sarah Lentz of the BAM staff. This will be in the show notes. And just to preface this is about mortgage professionals, but I do think it is our industry and really our society as a whole, it really are living this way. So to quote the article, 60% of mortgage professionals are living paycheck to paycheck. Over 31% of the 314 surveyed respondents plan to leave the industry in the next year, while 15% remain uncertain about their future as mortgage professionals. In today's market, we hear about how many agents are leaving the industry, and we don't really hear so much about lenders and what they're doing. But whether they're deciding a career change or exploring other options, it appears to be the case. So to summarize, like Byron mentioned, many went from burnt out to broke. Many aren't really checking their P&L for this year. For myself and my team, I told everybody in January, like I'm going to continue to pour money into the business because I know that although this might be a down year, anytime there's some sort of downturn when people are pulling back, you pull in. So I went into January knowing that we were probably going to get hurt this year for the first time in 4 years, but many agents didn't have that expectation. And with the amount of transactions that we have lost since last year, the interest rates being up, there are a lot of people that are hurting right now and maybe that aren't paying attention to the P&L. So Lindsay Breuhan, what can agents do to maybe shave down some expenses and fix their P&L potentially?
So I'm a solo agent, so I love to hear your perspective, Dan, being like having a team and having all these expenses. I'm a solo agent and I don't pay for leads, right? Everything I have is organic. And I've been very listing heavy. I've listed 5 different properties last 25 days. So I know, I'm excited. It's been awesome. And in doing so, I'm actually able to filter buyers out of the market for free. People don't want to tell us they're searching. People are secret searchers. They're on Zillow every single night. We ask if they want help. Radio silence, right? Like they want to be their own agent until they need to get in the front door of something. So if I were to give anyone any advice, I would give value in the form of professionally shot videos that you're putting on Facebook. And I'm not having to do that right now because of all of my listing videos. If you noticed, every single property I list has a professional video that goes with it. I do a coming soon post 24 hours before it goes in the MLS. It's a super, super awesome strategy in a low inventory market because it makes all the buyers come to me for the first 24 hours because they're like desperate for the information. So people are like letting me know, hey, I'm looking when they normally wouldn't be telling me. So I'm using my listings to their full potential. And with each listing, I'm either double dipping. Of those 5 listings, I've double dipped 2 of them. And each one is giving me on average like 3 to maybe even 4 buyers. Because of the campaign.
Keep the change. Lindsay, Joe, are you doing anything right now to cut back on expenses, or is your business just absolutely blooming as it appears?
Yeah, well, so we invest a lot in Zillow. And so we are premier agent. We're not flex. So our Zillow spend is like 30 grand a month, whether we close those leads or we don't. And so our incoming calls dropped about 71% this year. And so we pulled back a little bit on the Zillow and we're focusing more on our past clients, added an additional event, doing like birthday calls and home anniversary presents. We have our assistant drop stuff off. So took a little bit of money away from Zillow and trying to put it into, more past client stuff. So yeah, it's been good so far.
Eric, as now a media conglomerate, what are you guys doing right now with a little bit of a downturn in the market? I mean, really in the economy too. I mean, we have inflation, we have high rates, all of the above. So what are you guys doing over at BAM maybe to course correct or if anything?
We're firing everyone and canceling every single show and dispelling the entire company. No, we're doubling down on everything. Right now, summer is horrible for content. I don't know if anyone else has noticed. I mean, I had a couple reels pop off, but I feel like engagement is down overall because people go on vacations. People are less interested in opening their email. July 4th is coming up, like Father's Day. Like people are just kind of out and about. The weather's a little bit nicer. It's not like the full grind mode that it was kind of Q1, Q2. So we're hyper aware of that, and we're just doubling down on everything. We're adding more shows. We're spending more on Facebook ads. We're pushing more people into BAMX. We're doing everything we can to attract the most amount of attention when other people's attention is elsewhere. because this is kind of when you build, right? You kind of build during the bear market, whether it's, crypto stocks, whatever. This feels kind of like a content real estate content, specifically like bear market. And we want to do everything we can to just collect the most amount of emails, put out the most amount of content, and really just give our audience a million different options to consume our content. So we're taking the exact opposite approach to just build.
Yeah, absolutely. And why I wanted to add this topic in was because I was just having this talk with Byron, because, the last couple of years, let's say, I'm just hypothetically here, our GCI was $5 million, right? We've done very well. Going into this year, we knew, right? We set the expectation, but if we have that same GCI, or maybe if it's even less, let's just call it 4. Again, this is hypothetically, but my expenses have either stayed the same or they have increased because now we have more people, we have more staff, but there's less transactions. Now that P&L, hey, listen, we just sold 400 homes and we did $5 million, but somehow I just lost like $100,000. How does that happen? And it can get out of control very quickly. So by tracking your ROI, by tracking your spend, by tracking your P&L, and by being organized with it, like I challenge everybody right now that's listening, and I just did this with my team. I found $4,000 a month between subscriptions, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, ESPN Plus, YouTube TV, whatever it might have been. I just went back to find one thing, and I wound up finding like 15 that saved me $4,000 a month. That is Zillow leads. That is a marketing, right? But I challenge everybody here, right? You guys, listeners, go back and find one thing that you just don't need, that you don't even know you have. You just don't need it. And it starts to add up, and it will even out your P&L. But if you don't start doing this now, as this year continues to go on and we go into the slower months, the summer months, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
It's so hard to actually pull the trigger on that. Like, I'll see a charge come through in my email that says like I spent another $25 on like a Shopify site for some political merchandise company that I was building in 2019 that I thought was going to be huge, that I never, executed on. And I'm paying for like this URL. And I have like a million of those, all these little side project, like horrible ideas that I'm paying for, and Shopify subscriptions, Netflix, just like you said, to where it does add up, and you just got to go in there. And I still haven't done it, by the way. So maybe actually saying this will motivate me to do something, but I'm sure there's $500, $1,000 a month in there of just stuff that I'm just spending money on. One thing also that we're doing is with the Facebook ads, we're really starting to figure out what's working and what's not, and just directing money into obviously what's working. This is not a new genius concept or anything like that, but just testing everything that you're pouring money into and seeing, am I actually getting return on this, or am I just not holding the Facebook ads or myself accountable and just like letting it run?
Yeah. I mean, and you just said it too, like you should really go back and cancel most of those subscriptions, because that could be $1,000 a month. My mother, for example, she has been smoking for 40 years. You would never know it because she's, a beautiful woman, white teeth, but she just quit smoking, and we did the math, and she is, paycheck to paycheck. I helped them out, whatever. She just saved herself basically $1,000 a month, maybe $700 a month just from quitting smoking. Yeah. That is that's her cable bill. That's her light bill. That's right. Now that's freeing up some of that money. She's not in business. She's a hygienist, but you understand the concept. Any final thoughts here of what agents can do maybe to cut back?
It's not shocking that people are living paycheck to paycheck. You said like mortgage people are, but I think everyone in general, like if I leave the house, it's $100. Like I had COVID last week and I was like, oh my God, I haven't put anything on my Amex in 3 days. Oh wait, I haven't left the house. So I think it's like across the board, people in the industry, whoever's watching this, buyers, sellers, everybody could probably take that piece of advice and let go of those websites that you haven't done anything with.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe spend $9 a day on a caramel macchiato. Maybe get a little, get the Stop and Shop, branded coffee here.
Maybe make a pot of coffee at home.
Yeah,
exactly.
Concept.
Also, I think with the pandemic, we all got so used to ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash. I don't know about you, but I spend like an extra $10, $15 a day on Uber Eats and DoorDash. Like I'm spending every meal is like $65, $70. And just like you said, Lindsay, every time you leave the house, it's hundreds of dollars. Like if I Uber in LA, I'm going to a Dodger game Friday night, tickets, $200. The Uber, it's going to be 2 hours of traffic. That's going to be $100. I'm going to get 4 beers and 2 hot dogs, $80.
Yeah.
Another Uber back, $500. I'm going to bet on the game. I'm going to bet on the game, lose $500. That's $1,000. I've already lost $1,000 Friday, and Friday hasn't even happened yet.
Friday hasn't even happened yet.
It hasn't even happened.
Assuming you lost the bet. Yeah.
He's going to lose.
Well,
He's 100. Now I'm going to fade him too. But I mean, even Instacart, like I ran out of paper towels, Instacart paper towels, $27. If I went to CVS, it would have been $3. $27 for 2 rolls. They're already gone.
We've become obsessed with convenience. In this article, actually, they said that 60% of lenders wait 2+ weeks to get their paycheck, which I had no idea about. Agents would never let that fly. Like now that we have like direct deposit and everything, that would be a nightmare to go through a 30, 45, 60-day escrow and then wait another 2 weeks. And then there was another stat, like a quarter of them wait a month to get their paycheck. So if you have nothing in the pipeline and you got a deal going and it's done in 30 days and you have to wait another month to get your paycheck, that sucks.
You should probably go to another bank. My company, actually similar to Ryan Surian, has this. I believe it's a publicly traded company. I think could be wrong, but I think it's like a commission advance kind of platform. So my company just sent out a ginormous email to everybody saying like, hey, if you need that, we could do it for you, which leads me to think that there are a lot of people that are struggling if you need that, right? That fast, you're willing to give up a giant portion of the commission. But yeah, I mean, if you're waiting a month to get a paycheck, time to switch banks.
Yeah.
I think, Eric, you're right too, this whole convenience thing, because like I think about my dad, who's like a wealthy guy, and like he always picked up pizzas. Like he never got them delivered ever. And it's like we kind of are in this society where we're like, oh, whatever, it's $5 here, but it just adds up over time. Like get your ass up and go pick up that pizza.
Yeah.
It's the amount of money I spend on Instacart and Uber Eats it's actually criminal.
It's lazy, is what it is.
Yeah. I don't even want to know. I won't even look. I'd rather not know. Like it's just
that's another thing about this is I agree with you, Lindsay Joe. I will not look at any of this. Yeah. When I do, it does completely wake you up though, right? Like when you actually look at all those charges and look at your P&L and see what's going on, then you're like, oh shit, like this is one of the worst habits possible. So
so we got to pick our heads out of the sand, is what you're saying, and actually hard those expenses.
Yeah, less Uber Eats is the takeaway on this one.
No, I challenge everybody listening: go into your Chase app or whatever you use, go find a couple of charges or subscriptions, and go cancel them. And I guarantee you will save yourself hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. And that is one quick, little, easy way to save yourself money if you are hurting. All right, great job, everybody. Great points. Topic number 4. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know if you have an Uber Eats or Instacart addiction like we do. Topic number 4, marketing. As always, we're trying to provide you with the up-to-date to this minute. We just got incoming seconds ago, incoming marketing news that Eric is going to take over here and share with you. So that way you're up to date. Eric, take the floor, my friend.
We interviewed Brock 11 Johnson, who is the Instagram coach. He is the guru of all gurus. Get a lot of no, I wouldn't say that, but he's on equal footing. No, he's really good. So we interviewed him in our referral network, Refer, and he dispelled some Instagram rumors, some falsehoods that I've actually been spewing nonstop. So I just wanted to break those down real quick. Apparently, if you edit an Instagram, I always used to tell people, like if you're uploading from TikTok, make sure you do something on the Instagram app. Make sure you add a caption or add audio or edit a little bit, because then Instagram recognizes that you're using its features. That's a rumor. Instagram doesn't care. They just care if you actually have the watermark. So forget that next step. That's a lie that I've been telling for 6 years now. It's a hoax. It does not exist. It was a scam. Number 2 is photos are equal to reels. And the reason this is not necessarily just an algorithm change, although Adam Mosseri, the Instagram CEO, said they were going to put them on equal footing, but it's all supply and demand, right? If you're consuming a bunch of reels, you start to crave photos. If you're consuming a bunch of photos, you start to crave reels. So he said to mix in just as many photos and carousel posts as you do Instagram reels. And then the final thing that he said a lot more than this actually, but I'm just going to break down 3. With collab posts, if you're collabing with someone, the big account should post the video first, let it marinate for about an hour or 2, and then the smaller account should accept the collab.
Wow.
So don't accept the collab at once. You think it's going to push it out to both audiences immediately. The best way is to ride the algorithm of the first account. So there was a lot more rumors in there. We're going to do an entire blog post breakdown, but Brock Johnson did a fantastic job in the Refer group. And we're also going to get to the marketers of the week. This is how to do sneak peek videos of your listings or of your developments. We have 2. We got Shane Bergman, who we seem to feature weekly on the show. And we got Utah Real Estate Paige Steckling, who we also seem to feature weekly on the show. So the reason is they keep putting out banger content. There's nothing we can do about it. But these are 2 examples of how to do sneak peek videos. Haley, if you want to throw up pages and then we'll react to it.
Did you see Shane's golf video?
Yeah, it was
last night. Unbelievable. This guy's in one.
He had a great video too, where he was just at the range talking about the pros and cons of living on a golf course and just, hitting shots in between. He's so great at just doing like visual hooks throughout the video. So this is Paige's. She's talking about a new build and she does a great job at setting this up.
Here in beautiful Mapleton with a construction update on the latest project by Augusta Fine Homes. This home being built behind me just got done with framing, and if you've seen any of Augusta Build's work, you know it's going to be an absolute stunner when it's done. It's scheduled to be completed this fall, but if you want to scoop it up before it's done and avoid any bidding wars, now is your chance. For more info on the beautiful finishes going in and all of the upgrades, send me a DM. If you want to come get this everything you want me to be, babe. You know I'm loyal. This head is loyal. It don't get no better than this.
Well, there goes our copyright. There goes our copyright violation on YouTube. I didn't realize that was going to play music.
Jeez. Well, I was going to say, whoever does her music is fantastic because every single time I find myself just.
I know. I know. You feel like you're flowing throughout the entire video. Yeah. Lindsay, Joe, what did you think of this video?
I like it. I really like her a lot. I feel like she does a really good job of connecting us with a story. Every time I see her videos, like that one golf one that she did, I felt like I was actually there. And I think she does a really good job of figuring out how to showcase the house. If it's not, like she was saying that house, there wasn't anything super special about it. It was older people that lived there. They didn't really want to do a lot of updates. So what could she do creatively to kind of feature that listing? And I thought what she did was like brilliant. So I feel like she just keeps crushing it. She's great.
Her hooks, I mean, it's like it's just framed. Like that's not even, there's nothing to that. And between the drone shots, the music coming out that front door, like she's unreal.
Lindsay?
I think it's awesome. I think if you're not making videos in front of your listings, then you're making excuses because like you said, there's hardly anything to that property, but like I have a feeling that I'm there. I feel like I can picture myself like purchasing it. And that's what you're there to do, right? Like, and I go back to even Dan's like just goofy walkthrough that you did recently. To keep you engaged for like a couple minutes is very difficult. So like music and introduction and just being your goofy self and be like, come on. I think it's like amazing that like you have that sort of edge to the competition that you're not just like, here's another walkthrough. No one wants to watch it. So I think Paige is doing an amazing job.
Yep. She's there in front of the video. She talks exactly about what the house is going to be. She shows pictures of what the development's going to look like. It, quickly goes through with the music. And then she says, DM me before this gets into multiple offers or something along those lines. So there's always like a great call to action at the end of all these videos with Paige. So she crushes it. Yep. And then
if you're not in front of your listing being like, hi, I'm Lindsay Breuhan, check this out, then it's a waste because like in order to watch that video, you have to see her face, hear her voice, and hear her name, right? In order to check out the video. So it's like, you have to be taking advantage of that piece of real estate being right in front of it. You have to see who I am. It's great for brand recognition. It's great across the board.
I love when they also provide a hook about like something interesting in the property, like wait till you're going to see the kitchen. So then you have to watch the entire video. She's great at that. Taya DeCarlo is also great at that. Everyone's great at that.
Yep. Well, and like to DM me to like get a sneak peek or DM me to customize, right? Like that alone is like kind of a value add for people that there's no inventory or that are looking in that area. DM me and you can get a sneak peek. You can customize the home. 10 out of 10. Do we have another one teed up?
Yeah, we got Shane Bergman. Who does a driving in the car video.
In one right now. Oh, wait, time out before. Haley, bring that back.
Working around the trees.
Bring that back. Eric, I've learned this from you, and maybe this is another rumor that you have been spitting out for 6 years. Did you notice that the beginning of that clip, though, was like this, and then it goes to large, or no?
Yeah, I saw. What about it, though?
That's not a problem? Because you're in my head. I think everything's got to be...
It should be vertical at the beginning, but he at least had text and everything at the bottom. Let's play it again and see. We could break it down after.
Yeah, run that back. Yeah.
as many as they can. And mainly you'll see that the builders are preserving a lot of the oak trees and a lot of the palms. This approach is extremely unique, and it's one of the things that makes Arapica that much cooler. Literally it's cooler because of all the trees and all the shade that's going to be provided.
He's so good.
Well, one major problem with that video is that end card at the end, even though it's telling people to go to YouTube. Brock Johnson said this, end cards will hurt your content. If you're giving a fat call to action at the end, we used to do this with our BAM clips where it would say head to YouTube or head to the Overask podcast to watch the rest of the clip. That hurts the replay of that visual, because why would you want to watch it again? It's telling you to direct yourselves off of Instagram. So enormous mistake by Shane Bergman. That's a strike. We're never playing one of his videos again on this walkthrough. I don't know who teed this crap up. This is ridiculous. No, it's a great video. I like that he's driving in his car. Grant Cardone used to do videos like this where he's just like barking out the window, talking about like new developments and stuff. But it gives people a different perspective. He's like casually driving through the development, right? Talking about it. He shows an overhead. He has a little joke about the trees making that neighborhood cooler. So I like it. Great video by Shane.
I love it. But to end this, right, and wrap this all up, because my God, this appraisal issue continues. I don't know how to mute this. It's insane. But here we go again. To wrap this up, do you not agree with me though? Because you're the one that told me that when it goes from like, you're shooting something vertically, right, but you have it horizontal in the beginning, right away people could click off of that because it's two different. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't make this up.
Yes, this is not a rumor. This is truth. Anything that's horizontal on the platform looks worse. But I think he at least did a good job of having text above and below. So the entire video was not like a horizontal slide on the feed post. Right. But yeah, the whole thing should be vertical.
Yes. And then one more tip that you're going to provide, because you always give this to me, is should be vertical. Also, there should be a text in the very beginning of the video. And there should also be a really nice, aesthetically pleasing with the text on your profile grid. Correct or no?
Like a cover photo?
Right.
Yeah, it helps. The cover photos are great for people that visit your profile. Visit it like it's a YouTube channel, and you could say like, new development here. It gives them a reason to click on. Lindsay, it looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, I think it's like a genius, like from a marketing standpoint, to be marketing new builds. Number one, you're going to filter out new build clients. And by the time that people see the video, that property is sold on a normal thing. So if you're actually posting about new builds, it gives them time to like meet with that builder and like construct a plan and get something built from the ground up. So it's a genius marketing plan to be focusing on new builds right now.
Amen, sister. Who runs the world? Girls. All right, that's another episode of The Walkthrough. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Go get your subscription to BAMX. It will change your life. And also, because now that you're going to be canceling other subscriptions, you could buy 15 of them. You could buy it from all your friends. That's another episode. BAMX. Bada bing, bada boom. Who runs the world, girls? Eric, you're the man.
Go Dodgers on Friday. $500 on the Dodgers. That'll cover all the expenses. Let's go.